welcome to another Million Lords for Dummies video. So this one was actually about an hour and a half long, but I cut out some sections that were pretty like stalemate and sped through when I'm sending troops and whatnot so that you guys don't have to sit through the boring stuff. Kind of wanted to change it up this video with a attacking video instead of a simple like strategy based or bug report. I'll still be doing my bug report pretty soon now, but I haven't got to it. So in this video, I moved to an island with a lot of the bigger players, and I kind of found out that there's a few people I could jump through to get to certain areas, so I did that. As you can see, there's a few spots in the beginning of the video to jump to the players, and I'm really only shooting for double experience because I was just temple camping and attacking temples the first few days of season, and so I am low on troops for my level, and even towards the end of the video, still going to be low on troops for my level. I get walled a couple times, definitely take some risky plays for attacking, and so I'm thinking I'll just build up my troops through idle production, and so it doesn't matter too much. As long as I'm hitting for 200% experience and not getting walled very much at all, then it'll probably all work out. So as you can see here, my first target, I am a bit perplexed because I don't know how he has 70% or 75% brave with 0% guardian. It would insinuate that he has points in guardian, like skill points, without any gear on. And here I do watch a video, but I just skip it so you guys don't have to watch the ad. I also reloaded the game there because it did not show that I was leveled up. So that's something, it's kind of weird. You have to reload the game here and there. And I probably reload the game like 6-7 times throughout this video just because it's not loading properly. But what I was saying earlier is it's important to note if you don't have Weapon Master and you are putting points into Fearless or Brave, you want to equip your Guardian gear before you put your points into Brave so that you can see how much you would need to max it out. Whereas if you don't put any points, or you don't have your Guardian gear equipped, and then you go to put points into Brave, it's going to start you off at 1%, and then you need to max out. So that's what I'm thinking that guy did when I'm showing his report there. Now here, I see the guy isn't worth 200% experience anymore, so I go back over to my main, where there's a guy that's a little bit higher KP, and from there, I will be hitting him. And I also kind of am looking to my side here, and I see that although I can attack him in my general area around the main here, then once I hit these first 6-7 cities, then I won't really have a good line on him. So I'm kind of looking down and seeing that I will have to attack Cragdor, his city there, so that I have a good access point later on. And some of my commentary, it's not scripted at all, so some of my commentary I'll just be keeping track of what I'm doing, but there might be some lulls in it. So here I see that I don't really want to hit an 81 with 130 troops, 130 mil troops. So I reinforce the city a bit, get it to 180, then I send my attack there. I don't really think he'll wall me. I might, if I knew he was online, I might send like a under 100 mil attack, and that would, make sure that I get there in time without him walling me. But in this case, I kind of just assume that he won't. Then I because I know that he won't, or because I grab my access point, then I don't really need to be attacking from that point yet. So, or do I do attack from that point? I'm sorry. This was a couple hours ago, so I don't remember everything I did here. But okay. So I get that access point. I don't attack Cragdor because it's one times experience, and I would like to milk the most out of the 2 times. Oh, that's what I do. So because he has 85s down there, then I want to hit the 85s at 2 times experience before I start hitting the 80s. And this is simply because you're going to be getting more experience for hitting the 85s. And because I have upwards of like 400 mil, then, and 300% striker, then it's a pretty, it doesn't hurt me too much to hit 85s. And so I think this is solid because when you look at it, every level, of course, for a city, then you're gaining more KP than you would from leveling up from the first level. So if you're like a level 1 city and you're leveling to 2, it's going to gain less KP than if you're leveling to 3 after, like in between 2 and 3 to 3 and, or 1 and 2 to 2 to 3, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird. But so in this mindset, if you hit 85s, it's going to drop them down 2 levels, which is going to be a lot more KP than if you would drop the 80s down 2 levels. And so in that essence, you can kind of hit 85s for double experience longer than you can hit 80s for double experience in terms of like total experience. I think that's how it works. I haven't actually calculated it, but just thinking about it, it makes sense. So here I split my troops because I don't really want to use speed boost, and I'm kind of just skipping over the traveling time anyways for you guys, or at least speeding it up. So I split my troops, make sure they keep up with the first one. First one lands, resend it, then it lands, they all land together. And I just continue hitting the 85s. Now, I do want to note, right now I am in Guardian, or not Guardian, what the hell am I saying? I am in a Striker Rusher hybrid. And when I was in Silver League, I was running like 225 Striker, and then putting the rest into Rusher. And then, of course, for Plat, I tried out my new strategy, and I was running almost pure salve after the first few days, which you guys saw. And I demonstrated that in the video. In Platinum, I really don't think I'm going to be able to use that same strategy. If I was active from day 1, I might have been able to use it, but with my stats, which are honestly pretty like average even for Plat, then I don't think that I can pull off the hide and seek strategy that I kind of outlined in my last video. And so, or at least not pull it off to the point where it would be something that would get me more of an advantage than simply playing like I normally would. And so I kind of want to revise my statement that I said earlier, where that you could use the hide and seek strategy in gold very effectively, but in plat and silver it would be less effective. And that's kind of still the case, but almost to the point where in plat it's not even worth doing it. In silver you still could do it, but I would almost alter it to say like the first 5 days you could do it, where you're splitting up your troops, going through you're attacking, of course, to build up gold. Then you split up into different areas attacking neutral cities. And you see I have to reload again because it's just everlasting. Like, it shows that the reinforcements have landed, but it just does not actually land. So, as I was saying, you would attack the normal cities at the beginning of the season just to build up gold. Then you kind of branch out and maybe have 2 to 3 cities on an island. And, of course, put a few troops in them and whatnot. Now, I do want to note here, I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but the reason I don't move my troops is he was level 78. There's a half decent chance that he got walled a lot and it was just barely over a G. Of course, that's not the case, but I decided to keep my troops there because it's like 3G defensive and it is double experience. He's also earning 0% experience, so it's hurting him more than it hurts me. I think we lose roughly the same amount. I lose a little bit more. You can see here now, I was thinking of reinforcing the city, but then I see him scouting it. And I'm pretty sure he's within range where he could attack me, even though it'd be 0% experience. And so I don't reinforce the city right away because I want to see if he actually attacks me. Because, of course, if I reinforce it and he attacks, that's an easy wall for him. Hurts me a lot more because he can just put those like 3G troops into that city. I'm also looking here because I was thinking of hitting King Nitro, but a lot of his cities do not have the wall experience up yet, and I definitely need to be hitting for full wall experience at 200% to make my attacks worthwhile. I then see that there's a guy below me where I can hit for probably 0% experience, but at least it'd be a decent jump, assuming that he is offline. And so I move my troops down to the city that's closest to that area, and then I aim to attack it afterwards. And I just send a small march because I want to be able to take the city, but I don't want to be walled at 0% experience because that would really hurt me at this stage, especially because I'm already low on troops and I can't really guarantee this guy's not going to wall me. And so you'll see here, unfortunately, he does move his troops to defend that city, and I don't really know why he would. I guess maybe he wanted to attack King Nitro himself, and so he realizes, obviously I'm not going to hit him very much because he's 0% experience, but maybe I will hit King Nitro and take cities that he was going to attack away from him. So I don't fault him for that. I think that's actually probably a decent plan. And so there I go and figure, okay, I didn't really pay attention to, and I have to reload again. Or I don't have to reload, but I just wanted to reload to make sure that there wasn't any lag in my initial attack. Because it's important that I got as quick attack as possible with as much advantage from minimum lag. And you can kind of guarantee it by just reloading the game. And again, I see that King Nitro, none of his cities are really available. Now, I do make a blunder here, or a semi-blunder. It's kind of a gray area. So, as you can see, I scout his cities. They're clear. The 85 is further from his main than the 88, but the 88 would lose me more troops. I know he's online because I attacked him earlier and he walled me. And I was kind of assuming, like, what are the chances that he has troops in his main and he boosts them there at a quicker pace than I could get there. And unfortunately, I wasn't really paying attention to the speed of his troops earlier. to see what speed he had, because then I would have been able to see, okay, he has, it's like a 35-second attack probably, or reinforcement for him from his main city to that 85. And he could easily boost it in that time. So if I would have instead attacked the 88, I would have lost more troops, but I would have taken the city before he could get there. Likely. Because I ask him later and he says he's at like 810% rusher, and I am just over 800%. Or I will be, I guess, now. But I was just at 800%. So it's basically the same. And so I would have likely been able to just attack the 88 instead. So that's something to keep in mind. It's sometimes worth a higher troop loss for taking a city at its base wall level versus a lower troop loss, but a higher risk of getting walled. And yeah, it's a gray area. You could kind of go both ways, but I guess I would say that I made a mistake here, but also I probably could have just attacked this guy instead and King Nitro at a different location. And you see, I do notice now that there's another player at level 75 cities that is obviously taking those cities within the hour, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he has or that he is online. Now, this is another little blunder I wanted to notice or make you guys aware of. You see how I scouted and it went around this barrier here, that like wall of green, and you see my attack itself is going around it instead of through it. And that's just the general structure of the map. But if I was smarter, I would have hit the city just down and to the left of it, the 75 just down to the left, because it's the same distance from the 90s, but it's a shorter attack, so a little bit less chance of being walled. And I boost this attack partly for you guys so it's not as long of a wait time in between, but also because when you're attacking with a small attack force, it's often worth just boosting your attack there, because someone could see that you're attacking with small attack force, wait a couple seconds, and then attack that city, and then wall your incoming reinforcement. Now you see here, I scout a city. I see that there's 110 mil at a level 90. A level 90 itself has a base defense of like 5 to 700 mil. I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately. So with the 100 in there, it's I think at like 1.4 Gs defensive, and it's a bit more than I want to lose with 600 mil roughly. And so I pull my troops back to my main, and I'm kind of looking through the leaderboard, seeing if there's other people I could attack in nearby islands. And I don't really see anyone. I do look around just my general area and see if there's easier players, but they're all around the same KP as me, so I wouldn't really be able to hit them very much. And also, I'm looking at temples and seeing if it would be easy to bridge through them, but the temples that I see are already held by the people that I'd be bridging or jumping to. They're interchangeable terms. And so I decide, all right, I should play it safe and just attack 100% experience right next to my main, which is almost what I'd suggest people to do. But I was greedy. I wanted to hit at 200% experience and really rake in the rewards from that. And unfortunately, I'm happy that I am able to highlight my mistakes in this video and not just like show a video of me crushing someone or like raising super high in KP and maybe slightly unrealistic for my stat level, which I've done before, but it's more like meticulous planning and timing and a little bit of luck. And so this guy, I when I'm scouting him and looking at his reports, or my scout reports, I see you can kind of get a gauge of his stats, and from there you can choose to attack him for longer attacks. Now, I don't hit his 90 right now. I don't think I hit his 90 right now. Maybe I do. But because I know he is lower stats for me, and this is something to keep in mind as well. If you know someone is lower stats than you, then you also know that they can boost to that 90 in the under 30, or they'll be over 30 seconds to boost to the 90. And so I do attack him. This is probably my most risky attack on this guy, because if he's even up to like 50 seconds for the march, he can still beat me. It'll be like a 17-second march when he boosts his troops, and then he could have walled me. And although my march itself was only 23 seconds, I think, then he could have still got there and walled me, and it would have been 1 time's experience, so I wouldn't have really made a ton from it. I think he'd be making like 1.5 or 150% experience because of him being just like on the borderline of switching to pink for me. And you see here, instead of sending to the 76, I send to the 69 because it's further from the stronger guys. And when I'm sending slightly longer marches, I want to make sure that I can get my troops there. And so I send to the city that's just a bit further back. And you see there, it was still loading that the troops had gotten to the city. And so I had to reload again, which is kind of a common scenario that happens here. And so then from there, I moved my troops to the 76. And I realized Dallas doesn't really have any troops or any cities near the temple. And so pretty easy jump to the temple, just under a mil there. Send my march, 40-second march, but very unlikely that he could get there in time unless he was already sending troops there. You can't multi-scout from temples anymore, unfortunately, and this has been like that for a while, so it's not a new development at all. But I just want to scout the 94s because I don't want to waste time doing single scouts, because in that amount of time, especially with his main right there, he could easily move troops to defend me. And so I send my march, and I take the city, and I don't really want to take other 94s from him because obviously you can see 59% loss. Even with, and I don't know if I have to reload there or if I just chose to because there's enough time to in between my march. But 59% loss is a lot. Now, of course, it leads me into attacking these 85s and 80s, and 81, of course, you see there, which will give me another G.5 experience, which will give me a level and whatnot. But it's more that I just, like, I don't know if even this is, like, really smart, attacking the 90, the 94. I could have sent, like, under a 100 mil to take a 95, I believe, because the 95 is, like, 300 something mil guard. So I could have sent, like, 98, 99 mil and taken that, and then from there attacked the other 95s and 80s. But I don't know. I kind of think of it as well as if I'm taking a 92, people are going to take the 92 from me, and so I'll get experience from that, passive experience from that as well, and it'll be more experience than I'll get from them retaking the, like, 83s, you know? So you can kind of think of it that way, but obviously I did lose a good amount of troops on that, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that. I would have maybe just sent a smaller attack, and tried to go for like the 85s. And that in retrospect, that probably could have saved me a few troops there. But, in the moment, that's what I chose to do. And I don't think it's going to really hurt me too much in the long run. Obviously, it was 200% experience, so it was something where I kind of figured, screw it. 200% experience, only 5 days into season, I can afford to take some heavy hits. So at this point, there's really maybe one or two other people that I can hit effectively with lower chances of being walled. And I already know that King Nitro has that 110 mil at the 90. And he probably sees that I scouted and didn't attack. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I doubt he's going to further reinforce the city. So I might as well just get my troops. I started with like the 600 something. Now I have 700 some. And so it's a bit more acceptable to hit that. I'll still lose a decent amount of troops, but not as much as I would have. And so, screw it, I might as well take the 90. I think the others are clear. So then I rescout his cities. And I was looking at battle reports earlier, so I knew the defensive capabilities. So I'm not checking the scout reports here. So I rescout, see that he has the 110 there. I take it for double experience and a little bit of gold, of course. Then I attack again because I'm not really sure if I'm going to continue to take these surrounding cities because maybe he's reinforcing them and whatnot. This one, of course, I lost another probably 30%. Now, I will say, even with double experience, like for a general attack, I like to be under 10% troop loss. And for double experience, then I'm okay with going up to 20% troop loss because you're getting double experience. It's like attacking two cities, so why not have 2 cities worth of troop loss? At least that's kind of how I think of it. Maybe it's not the right mindset, but that's kind of what I was working with. And then I dump my gold, coming to the end of the video here. So I pretty much dump my gold and then I'm done and just log off. But I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe this was informative, helpful to you at all. Otherwise, I had fun. So feel free to like, subscribe, join my Discord channel, which will be in the description, and have a great day.